Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Sunday, September 9th, 11:37 p.m. Mountain Time 2018. You're looking at the west coast of the United States and Hurricane Olivia, which is closing in on the Hawaiian Islands. But draw your attention to this 2,500-mile wide low pressure system, which we call an Earth spot, out here in the north central Pacific. This storm is gigantic, and it is going to remain in this position for days and gain size of over 3,000 miles wide. That's insane. And these are a sign of things to come. Storms of this magnitude will be the norm as opposed to the exception. And if we quickly move the model through to Tuesday in the European model, you can see Hurricane Olivia closing in on the Hawaiian Islands, specifically Honolulu. By Wednesday afternoon, it should make landfall according to the European model. If we jump over to the GFS, it's a southerly track where earlier Tuesday at midnight, it is hitting the Big Island as a tropical storm. So either way, we're talking heavy rains for the entire Hawaiian Islands. Add insult to injury and the devastation there, and exactly what they don't need. Now, let's come over to the East Coast, where there are currently 3 storms. That's true. These 2 are going to move north and be no threat to the eastern U.S. But Hurricane Florence is going to wreak havoc on North Carolina. According to the GFS model, it is going to hit south central North Carolina sometime Thursday evening, with sustained winds at about 100 miles per hour. Now, unfortunately, the European model, I believe, is more accurate of a predictor, and that is predicting a much major storm to hit much earlier. This is going to hit in a more southerly portion of North Carolina sometime midday Thursday. You could see here sustained winds of 143 miles per hour after the eye has made landfall in southern North Carolina. If this is the scenario that unfolds, it will be devastating because according to the models, and we can run this through. Oh, let's come back here. This is going to linger for a bit. Now, what that means is torrential rain, and some of the GFS models I've seen, the most devastated regions are going to be up here in the southern West Virginia, northern Virginia area, where this storm is literally going to drench a region that is already drenched. And we're talking record flooding in Washington, D.C., heads up Ice Age 2050, the Delmarva area, and not to mention what we're going to see in North Carolina. But the inland flooding from this event is going to be catastrophic and unprecedented. It doesn't matter which model you look at. We're looking at upwards of 50 inches of rain in some areas. So those people that are in low-lying areas that can get out of harm's way, do so now. If you're in the Outer Banks, get out. It is a death sentence if you stay. Extremely dangerous Hurricane Florence strengthens as residents warned to prepare. Presume that a major hurricane is going to hit right smack dab in the middle of South Carolina, the governor said. Unfortunately, it's going to hit north of the South Carolina line, southern North Carolina. The National Hurricane Center said Florence is expected to become a major hurricane by Monday and would likely remain an extremely dangerous storm through Thursday, when forecasters said it will make landfall. We're going to be watching this deadly storm closely. Here is the track for Olivia, and they're splitting the difference between the models and making it make landfall here right through these on the northern tip of the Big Island sometime at midnight between Tuesday and Wednesday. So keep your close eye there. Prayers go out to the Hawaiian Islands. Here's the current track from the Hurricane Center coming out for Florence. Whew. All these names. This is the probable path of the storm center, but does not show the size of the storm. And the models are varying from 100-mile-an-hour sustained winds at landfall in central North Carolina to 135-mile-an-hour winds after landfall in southern North Carolina. Either way, it's going to be devastating. Tropical systems threaten the U.S. interests. Remnants of Gordon continue to produce heavy rain. I spoke to Leah. She's in the Philadelphia area and has postponed her flight because all flights are being canceled in this region. It is absolutely going to be havoc when Florence makes landfall here and lingers in this region that is already saturated. We're going to talk about record flooding in Philadelphia on the Schuylkill, on the Delaware River, the Potomac, the Ohio, and on and on. It will be unprecedented. The tropics are extremely active with several threats. Typhoon Mangkhut could impact Guam today. Hurricane Olivia may reach Hawaii midweek, as we discussed, and Florence is forecast to become a major hurricane today. Residents in the southeast and mid-Atlantic should closely monitor Florence, as it is deadly and dangerous and will have a major impact by midweek. The remnants of Gordon will continue to produce heavy rain from the eastern Great Lakes to the northeast, and if Florence moves up into this region, it will be devastating. Central America, 2 million risk starvation as the grand solar minimum ensues. Poor harvest caused by drought in parts of Central America could leave more than 2 million people hungry, the World Food Program said Friday. Below average rainfall has led to major crop losses in Central America's dry corridor, which runs through Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. The region was hit hard by consecutive years of drought from 2014 to 2016, which left millions in need of food. And now it is worse. And only getting more severe as the years unfold. Bone-chilling near-record cold for Port Elizabeth. Spring is off to a chilly start in Port Elizabeth with near-record temperatures captured on Thursday. Check out, it's snowing on Route 62 in the Langkloof. South African Weather Service spokesman in Port Elizabeth, Garth Sampson, said the mercury rose to a bone-chilling 10.8 C. If you felt a bit chilly, it's because the record is 10 C, 10.7 C set back in September 1974, missing it by a tenth of a degree. You ain't seen nothing yet. That is a giraffe in the snow in Africa. Al! Well, let's talk about the UAH temperature data coming from the University of Alabama, Huntsville, which won't pop up for us. Damn. Do it. I just don't know. Spot the giraffe? Yeah, there it is. It's been an icy cold week in the Western Cape, and temperatures dropped so low it resulted in a blanket of snow covering areas in the Maastruisburg Reserve, Cedarburg, and Hex River Mountains. Some snow could still be seen on Sunday, and these giraffes were pissed. They're looking for Al Gore right now. Unusual chill in the city as minimum temperatures declined to record September lows. This is in India. Nashik. The Nashikites has been experiencing unusual chill for the past 5 to 6 days as the minimum temperature is consistently being recorded below normal. The temperature, which was below 20 degrees C mark for the past 3 days, touched a new low at 17.5, making it the lowest minimum in 10 years. Hashtag Sydney storm. Hail is deeper than I've ever seen it. I've ever eaten it. That's actually what it says. Buckle up. Severe storm brings Sydney's wettest day in 2 years. Flash flooding, traffic chaos, and 1,000 lightning strikes per hour. And guys, that's hail. Holy inhale. A cold front swept through parts of Australia's New South Wales on Friday afternoon local time, September 7th, producing severe thunderstorms with 1,000 lightning strikes per hour. dropping heavy rain and a lot of hail for parts of Sydney. It was the wettest day in more than 2 years. And that's tonight's first boom. Yeah, it's Rihanna. I swear. Let's talk about the seismic update. The world is increasing in seismic activity. We had a 6.5 in the Solomon Islands at 64 kilometers. We just had a 6.9, which is a downgrade from 7.0. 61 kilometers southwest of Esperance Rock in New Zealand. And the biggest quake of note here is of the 5.1 at Rinjani. This is following a 4.8, and this is not looking good. This is the Samalost VEI-7 eruption in the 12th century. In this area, there's the volcano. So you see the small cinder cone in here. This little baby has been erupting recently. You can see a much better, clearer picture here. But the caldera here is the 1200 eruption of Samalos. And we'll come over here and look at it. Here's Rinjani. Here's the small cinder cone we just looked at in the center. And if we come over to eruptive history here, we could just run down and look at the VEI-7 back in 1257, July 1st. The Samalos eruption. And that created this big hole. And now it's been erupting as recent as 2017. 2016 confirmed VEI-2. And we have new activity there. Major seismic activity in this region. 5.1. There was a 4.8 here just 24 hours ago. So as far as quakes of note, that is the most significant as far as cooling the planet. The rest are insignificant. Nobody probably felt these, and there were no associated tsunamis. Other than that, the whole ring of fire is ringing, and that is a Rihanna boom. Look at that dress. Worldwide volcano news update. We don't have one. But a new study, islands are growing, not sinking with global warming conspiracy. The theory of global warming in the oceans will rise in places like New York City and Miami will sink beneath the waves is insane. In fact, you got to read this article because it's really to the point. Heads up, Armstrong Economics, for picking up what we're putting down. You know how to convince someone global warming is real? Well, according to the mainstream, you need to play a game with them. And the situation is so urgent, you need to play a game to convince people how urgent it is. And this is an MIT professor. You should be ashamed of yourself. No hair, beard, fraud. Look at this chart. It means nothing. And if you come read this article, the game is even more insane. It's called the World Climate Simulation, and it is the brainchild of some Earthheart of Climate Interactive, a nonprofit formed at MIT by a bunch of douchebags and former students who wanted to educate policymakers, business leaders, and others about the farce of global warming, which is not based on any facts. Not that we could ever get them to actually pop up on the screen. Oh, let's look at some facts. The UAH satellite-based temperature of the global lower atmosphere has been dropping almost 1 degree C in the last 3 years. Just 0.19 degrees above the average going back to 1979. And it is our prediction that we're going to drop well below the last temperature dip during the last solar minimum, which began in 2007, dropping rapidly 0.9 degrees C. So it is our position that this will drop well below negative 0.3 by January of 2019. And that will be very difficult for the alarmists to not acknowledge, let's say. As the TSI rapidly decreases as we descend into the eddy minimum, alarmists like Paul Beckwith are going to be showing graphs that are undeniably showing ice growing. Like we pointed out earlier today, the alarmists aren't even checking their own graphs. And it is rapidly changing. And you know how the game works? At some point, no matter how big the fraud is, the cooling will be undeniable. You want to see how bright green Comet 21P in binoculars is on Monday? A great chance to catch one of the celestial visitors is overnight when Comet 21P Giacobini-Zinner will be best visible in binoculars or a telescope. The Comet Notice 21P will make its closest approach to Earth, and it is an electric comet, has no ice whatsoever, and is made of rock. And it is currently glowing plasma green. Yeah. The bright green comet should reach visual magnitude of 6.5 to 7 according to earthsky.org. But if we have geomagnetic activity as it is on close approach, this baby is going to light up and people are going to shit their pants. Because 21P is almost bright enough to see with the naked eye. And if we have any geomagnetic activity, this baby is going to light up like a firecracker. Isn't that right, Rihanna? We're going to be watching it closely. Look up with binoculars early tomorrow morning, and you may spot Comet 21P whizzing across the sky. Check out the links. Hey guys, there's a long road ahead. If you haven't started preparing, start now. Don't wait. If you start now, you'll start seeing results one day earlier than if you start tomorrow. I swear. Isn't that right, Rihanna? Yeah, she's no dummy. If you start now, you'll start seeing results one day earlier than if you start tomorrow. And that is the final boom. And if a great place to start is over at My Patriot Supply, where you can get some limited edition seed kits, which I'll leave links to below. Support the channel. Support your preparedness. 4-week food kit plus a seed vault, $199. You can get 100 packs of heirloom seeds in an ammo can for $109. That's $1.09 per seed pack. What do you think, Rihanna? Yeah, she's got 10 of them. She's buying them right now. Each boom equals a seed vault. Boom, another one. She's got another one coming. You should too. Hope you got something out of the video. Start now. Don't wait. Be safe.